Allah, Yahweh, Allah Haganawa, Yahweh, Achad, Shemai, Yasher Allah, Yahweh, Allah Haganawa, Yahweh, Achad, Shemai, Yasher Allah, Yahweh, Allah Haganawa, Yahweh, Achad. All right, Shalom, Makyam. I was the high spirit we in Judah of the GMS Mississippi camp, giving our honor and glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahashem, Habashai, Bahashem, Kakwadash. I also want to give double honors to our elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings, health and wellness to the house of David the elect. All right? All right, and today I want to go into a topic entitled Wakanda and the Two Sticks. Wakanda and the Two Sticks. And shalom to you brothers and you sisters, are you Akim and you Akwath, who are tapping into this live stream, okay? I finished watching the movie Wakanda Forever. And, of course, from a spiritual perspective, it has mixed reviews because it turned to more of a matriarch in the movie. And a lot of brothers are kind of, they get turned away from that. But, nevertheless, you watch movies like that and you can still extrapolate from those type of movies because I think it had good cinematography. I mean, I think it had a good graphics. I think it's a pretty good storyline, and it still had a lot of spiritual elements into it. I could definitely understand how they replaced the Black Panther with the woman and all that, but one thing I did grab from the movie, and if a brother's like is a real Avengers person, they will understand more of the background than I would, and the more of the storyline. All right, but one thing I noticed in the movie, and this is a spoiler, and I forgot to put that in the topic, the title, but it is somewhat of a spoiler. All right, one thing they had in the movie is that out of all the characters they had in the movie, all right, out of all the superhero characters, whatever you want to call it, the two kingdoms were basically the southern and the northern kingdom going against the colonizer, going against the Americans. All right? So Wakanda spiritually is like the southern kingdom in Africa. All right? There would be Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. All right? They were not Hamites. They had the culture of Hamites with the plate in the lip. But from a spiritual perspective, that was more like the southern kingdom. But then they had the kingdom that was underwater. All right? I forget the prince's name. I think it was Kukatan or something like that. All right? Basically, it was an underwater kingdom. All right? But when they went into their history, they actually started in Central America. All right? And when Esau brought when Esau came over here, he brought his smallpox over here. And when he brought his smallpox over here, a lot of the people in Central America, which they were classified as the Mayans. So it wasn't some fictional tribe. They came from Central America as the Mayans, meaning they were Zebulon. All right, they were Zebulonites. All right. But what happened was they had their shaman, and the shaman, they consulted the shaman, and the shaman told them to take this. It's a particular plant with a particular element in it, and the element was vibranium. I believe it was vibranium. All right, and they consumed the plant as a tribe, and ultimately they develop mutant qualities to where they could no longer breathe in the air, but they could breathe through the water. So that's how they ended up being an underwater kingdom. So they ended up living under the water. And then when they came back to visit the surface of the earth, all right, yeah, when they came back to visit the surface of the earth, all right, Esau, as the Spaniards, came and ruined the village, man. He ruined the fucking village. But the little prince, he basically destroyed the Spaniards there. All right, so the Spaniards looked at them as like they were the bad guys because it was Roman Catholic Spaniards. So they was looking at him like he was the devil. Really, the devil was the devil. But long story short, that underwater kingdom in Wakanda, the roots were in Central America as the Mayans. And I believe they might have been Guatemala. They might have been Guatemalans, but they had the culture of Guatemalans, but they definitely identify as the Mayans. And ultimately they were from the tribe of Zebulon. They had beautiful, real beautiful ornaments, man. It was excellent because, brothers get into the stones and brothers get into the ornaments. Some of those brothers have exotic stones. In Northern Kingdom, Had very exotic stones. Nonetheless, nonetheless, they had a common enemy. Wakanda had an enemy, and that the underwater Northern Kingdom had an enemy because they both had access to vibranium. So guess who wanted the vibranium? The so-called white Western world. So the so-called white Western world was wanted to tap into the vibranium of the underwater kingdom, but also they wanted to tap into Wakanda because T'Challa died, the Black Panther died. All right, so they feel like, well, the king is dead, we could get their resources, just like the colonizer. Why do you have European colonization? What took place in European colonization? All right, the extraction of the resources, man. All right, whether it was and watch that movie Wakanda, man. Watch Wakanda, man. All right, because it wasn't. Yeah, they took the T'Challa, they took the male leadership role out of the movie, but nevertheless, watch the movie because it's really about the northern and the southern kingdom. Ezekiel 37 and the two sticks. It's really about Ezekiel 37 and the two sticks, man. And think about it, it said Gad, the troop should overcome him, but in the end, he gonna overcome that troop, man. And the director of the movie, they know what it is. So like I'm looking for the temperature down there, but the director of the movie know what it is. And I got my sage with the lavender, man. I got this while I was out here, man. The sage with the lavender connected to it. Okay? But watch the movie Wakanda Forever, man. Of course you gotta extrapolate with any movie made by E. You know? Meaning you gotta chew up the bones, spit out the fat. Or chew up the meat, spit out the bones, you know? But in Ezekiel the 37th chapter, the Most High told Ezekiel to get two sticks, one for the southern kingdom and one for his brother, the northern kingdom. And it's a movie spoiler. I'm sorry, it's a movie spoiler. You can click off, I won't get offended. All right? But it's a semi-movie spoiler. All right? No, but what happened was they realized, shit, we got a common enemy. Forget our beef. We got a common enemy. And it was the northern and the southern kingdom, because the underwater kingdom that you saw in the preview, they were Zebulon. They were Zebulon. They had a beautiful underwater Mayan empire. It was a Mayan empire underwater. It wasn't just some fiction. Well, it was fictional because who's living underwater, you know? But they had a Mayan empire, the Aztecan Mayan empire underwater. That pre-colonial northern kingdom. All right? And they had one common thing. They had a element that Esau didn't have access to. They had an element that Esau didn't have access to. And just like now they started game banging. I want to keep it vague, but they had certain beef with each other. All right, but it wasn't just fictional. The director of the movie understands prophecies, man. The director of the movie Wakanda understands prophecies. Like another brother could do a video on Wakanda, and it could be a negative review because he had a whole different experience watching it. But what I got out of it, northern and the southern kingdom coming together because they got a common enemy. And there was a straight up northern and southern kingdom because Wakanda is spiritually like a Judite empire, a Levite, Judite, Benjamite empire in West Africa or in Africa. All right? You know? Like the Ashanti, I believe that's a Benjamite empire. And you got brothers and scholars into that, and they could get more into it. But those are straight up Southern Kingdom empires in West Africa. And the narrative was the same. They had elements that the colonizer wanted. You see? But they had a beautiful storyline, man. You see? But in Ezekiel 37, the Most High told our forefather Ezekiel to get us two sticks. And that's why we have a 12-tribe sign. There's really two sticks joined together. One stick representing the Southern Kingdom, and one stick represented the northern kingdom. You see? And out of all the kingdoms that could have united in that movie, they united the so-called Negroes with the so-called Hispanics and Native Americans. Well, I just say Hispanics. All right? They didn't join Wakanda with the Hawaiians with Japhet. They joined Wakanda. All right, they aligned each other with Northern Kingdom. Okay, you see, but that goes right back to prophecy, Ezekiel 37, where the Most High told our brother Ezekiel, all right, to join two sticks, one for the Northern Kingdom, one for Ephraim and his companions. I'm sorry, one for the Southern Kingdom, Judah and his companions, and one for the Northern Kingdom, Ephraim and his companions, meaning his brother tribes. Okay, you see, and they said join together because of our history in the past, the kingdom got divided because of our transgressions. The kingdom got divided. And then furthermore, we had an evil eye towards each other, all right, according to prophecy and according to the curses. We had an evil eye towards each other, but in the end, we was going to join back together. And that's what's going on now. That's why you have these different churches, or these sanctuaries known as camps that consist of the southern and northern kingdom, man. And one thing I noticed about the Northern Kingdom and their characteristics, they're very exotic. All right? I'm just lighting the sage, by the way. But one thing I noticed about the Northern Kingdom is that they're very exotic and they're kind of out of this world. Like with their building, with their architecture, with their array, how they array themselves. You know, like Reuben has a turban, but they have a turban with the feathers. You know, Gad has all the different bees and the feathers, and Ephraim and Zebulun, they're heavy into the bees, and their beads is very exotic. You know, it's very, and some brothers, and I just say this through the spirit of my own speculation. Sometimes you kind of sense what kingdom a brother is from based on how he does his beads, because like I said, a lot of Northern Kingdom brothers are very exotic. You know, their attire and their array is very peacockish. You know. But not all the time, but that's one trait I would attribute to the Northern Kingdom, is they're exotic, you know? They're kind of out there, you know what I mean? Especially in their attire and their array. I think Judah is sparkly, like he's into the razzle dazzle. I think Judah probably made famous diamonds and gold and silver, you know? I think that's a Judite thing, you know, a Southern Kingdom thing, like diamonds, gold chains, you know. But I think Northern Kingdom is very exotic. And in that movie, Wakanda, the underwater kingdom, which I should have wrote down all the names of the kingdoms and stuff and the names. But the underwater kingdom wasn't just a made up kingdom. It was actually a Zebulonite kingdom underwater. It was a underwater Mayan kingdom. Okay? And long story short, they knew in the movie, whoever the director of the movie, they know the prophets. They know that the end, that we in the end, because the Northern Kingdom is joining with the Southern Kingdom. That's one thing. A lot of you got certain Israelite camps, skin only Israelites. They don't subscribe to the Northern Kingdom being Israelites. You got a lot of pro-black people. All right, there are a lot of pro-black people. They love the first Black Panther, but the second Wakanda went over their head because they aligned with their brother, the Northern Kingdom. They got aligned with them. All right, and that'll go over a pro-black person's head, because the Most High not pro-black, he's pro-Israelites, pro-12 tribes, and those are our brothers. And the brother, the beloved brother Kazak Allah, he's been going into that since he woke up. Who the Northern Kingdom was, at least minimum 10 years, going into Hebrew ruins, Hebrew relics amongst Gad in America. You know, little writings with the Hebrew in it, with the 12 tribes, with the 10 commandments in it. You know, Los Lunas, New Mexico, the 10 commandments written in stone, man. You see? Because our Northern Kingdom brothers, they're the sons of Yahweh Shema Shai. It tells you in 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter, these 10 tribes. Who's the 10 tribes? It's the Northern Kingdom, man. It's the Northern Kingdom coming here to America, all right? Because when they were amongst the Syrian captivity, they could not keep the laws. So they came to America. And one of the things that the Northern Kingdom was specialized in, all right, that was one of the expertise was astrology and using the constellation as a map. See, that's another thing. the Northern Kingdom are experts or were experts in astrology and using the constellation as a map, and that's how they were able to come to the Americas, and that's how they were instrumental in setting up those Egyptian pyramids, the Egyptian empire, because they knew how to line the pyramids up. All right, according to the constellations. And how do we know it was them? Because what do you have in Central America? All right, I'm trying to think of some. Yeah, but Central America. All right, you have pyramids, the Mayan Aztecan pyramids. All right, where did they get that from? They got that from the constellation, all right, or astrology that they used to build the pyramids in captivity in Egypt. It tells you in Exodus that we built treasure cities. Where did they store the treasures in? What structures? Pyramids. Okay? And if you look up when it said they built treasure cities, it actually has two names of those cities. Those two names. And if you look at the illustration of it, it looks like a Mayan pyramid. It looks like an Aztec. Oh, there we go. There we go. Let's go. First Chronicles 12 and 32. And of the children of Issachar, which were men that had understanding of the times to know what Israel ought to do, the heads of them were 200, and all their brethren were at their commandment. But what does it mean when it says understanding of the times? Hey, what did it say in Genesis? That the lights in the heavens were for knowing the times and the seasons. All right? So the water brother, our brother of the Northern Kingdom, Issachar specifically, had understanding of the constellations, because that's how you would determine the times, meaning you understand the prophecies. That's why you had the Mayan calendar, all right, which was Zebulon, but Zebulon was in an alliance with Issachar during that time. That's why it's called the Mayan calendar. They had understanding of the times, okay? And also, like I said, they built their architecture based on the constellations in the heavens. They did that in Egypt, and they did that in the Americas, man. That's a Northern Kingdom bad. That's the gift they had. All right? That's all right. That's the gift that they had, brothers and sisters. And they brought that here to the Americas. All right, that's why they have pyramids in the Americas. But then, the longer they stayed in America, their descendants started to degenerate, all right, deviate from the ways of the Most High. And it started to degenerate. Now, the word degenerate means what? Because I always say this. It means to depart from an ancestral standard. What was the ancestral standard? The laws of Yahweh Shema Shai. So they came over here with turbans, with fringes. But by the time the Spaniards got here, a lot of them were on some bullshit. Human sacrifices. Let's get it. 2 Ezra 13 and 40. Those are the 10 tribes which are carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanazar the king of Assyria led away captive, and he carried them over the waters. All right? And so came they into another land. And it took a year and a half to come over here to the other land. What was the other land? America. And they built up their civilization, all right, based off the constellations. Okay? And it's not just Issachar, all right? It was Issachar, Zebulun, all right, Gad, and they allotted themselves based off their tribes. They allotted their territory based off their tribes. That's why you have Gad, known as the so-called Eskimos over in Alaska. You had Gad that took on most of North America. But then you had Reuben that took on the southeastern parts of America, mainly what we call the Florida area. All right, but then you had Issachar take on the Midwest and the West Coast. All right, they didn't just stay in one spot. All right, so you had something called the Alamo, and to my recollection, that was the Spaniards annexing what we call Texas, and basically stealing their territory, taking the territory from Issachar. All right? That's how they got pushed over to this being so-called Mexicans. All right? But the point is, man, all right, we were carried away from the Assyrian captivity because we wanted to keep the laws. And because, what was the little thing with America? All right, they had the Puritans and the Quakers, all right, to come over here, exercise religious freedom. which the narrative was what? All right, they wanted to keep their laws. But what we really did that. We were the real Puritans. Because we didn't want to defile ourselves into the way of the Assyrians, man. So our Northern Kingdom brothers came over here to keep the laws, man. All right? That's what we got something called the Mayans, the Aztecans. That's a byword for Zebulon. A byword for Issachar, the Aztecs. All right? The so-called Guatemalans are Israelites. That's why they have something called embroideries. If you look at the Guatemalans, the so-called Guatemalans, now it tells you in Exodus that you had men and women who were skilled in embroidery. All right? And a lot of their clothing and a lot of their works has fringes. All right? Hey, the brother Kazak went into that. Mexico means Mashayak. Woo! Like Hamashayak, you know? They in the movie Wakanda Forever, they mentioned the feathery serpent. All right? The flying feathery serpent, man. All right? But Yahweh Shah was referred to as a serpent. All right? Deuteronomy 28:37, and thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither Yahweh shall lead thee. And that was a heavy movie. Because, you know, you see the previews, and it's like, man, they turned this to a little chick flick. But you go with your rib, and it's like, whoa. First of all, the storyline was good. The cinematography was on some Avatar level type stuff. But then it's like, whoa, this is a message to the elect. Because the Most High, I believe the Most High, he cast out messages to the body of Yahweh Shai to where it has that esoteric meaning behind it. So you can watch the movie face value, or you can watch it through the oil that you have in you, and it's like, whoa. The Most High, he's projecting something. He's projecting the move he's making with us. Like he's joining the two sticks. When you realize, when the northern and the southern kingdom realize that they brothers and they have one common enemy, we in the fucking end. And we in the end. It ain't got nothing to do with no pro-black bullshit. That's why in the sequel, they brought in the northern kingdom. You merge it in that second stick. When he came down on the throne, you talking about in the movie, right? Shh. Hey, man, it looked majestic. It's like, whoa. It was this, man, I was watching the movie. I was like, man, you know, I almost walked out the movie to my some Wakanda Forever. You know, we don't give a fuck about Wakanda. It's really Zion Forever, but it was just, hey, man, but watch the movie, man. It wasn't just some pro-black bullshit, you know, or some women's empowerment. Of course, they mixed that in there. But nah, this is about the southern and northern kingdom joining together because we got one common enemy, man. All right, let's go. Ezekiel 37:16. Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah and for the sons of Israel his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel his companions. Verse 17. All right. And join them one to another into one stick, which is a 12-tribe sign, and they shall become one in thine hand. Now, I don't know how old a lot of you brothers are, but if y'all saw the movie Avatar, all right, the blue people in the world of Pandora, the planet Pandora, that was an allegory. That was a symbolic movie, a metaphorical movie, because the blue people represented what Esau called the red people, which is really Gad. And the American military wanted their resource, all right? And it was symbolic of what they did to America, okay? But in the end, the avatars took over the military. As it said, Gad, the troops will overcome them, but in the end, they'll overcome their troop. You know? But this reminds me of Avatar, brothers. It's on that level. And speaking of Avatar, it's a sequel coming out. It's a sequel to Avatar coming out. And it took 12 years to come out with the sequel. 10, 11, 12 years. But I'm definitely going to see it, Abba willing. If nothing happens, Abba willing, I'm going to see it. All right? And I recommend brothers see it. Sirach 36:11. Gather all the tribes of Jacob together and inherit thou them as from the beginning. You know? Genesis 49:19, the water. Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. And people be denying that Northern Kingdom are the Israelites. They ain't got no fucking taste. And one thing I noticed about, excuse my language, one thing I noticed about Jake and their one track mindedness and their pro black Israeliteness is that they put the Most High in a box. If you look at the planet Earth, why would you put the Most High in a box? Like you look at Psalms, what's that? Psalms 19, how it says, you know, the heavens declare His glory, and like you look at His expansion, which is the universe, and you look at the galaxies, and like people don't even get into the galaxies and you know the solar systems, and you look at the different birds the Most High has, and you look at the different species of animals. You watch shows, the series like Planet Earth, and you look at His creation from a drone's point of view, a satellite point of view. It's like, wow. But then He'll make a tribe of people where all 12 tribes look like me. Get the fuck out of here. The Most High is exotic. The Most High shows it's like the Most High shows that exotic side through His Northern Kingdom son. You know, the Southern Kingdom son might look like Him, or they might have a certain spirit that He has, but the Most High really shows that exotic side, that far outside through that Northern Kingdom, man. Like how they're like the Aztec and Mayan Empire was, like in this original pristine state, their pre-Columbian state, and how they carried themselves. The Most High shows that exotic side through His Northern Kingdom sons, you know. But He shows that Judite royal side per se through that Southern Kingdom, you know. But you one track minded as hell if you think all 12 tribes look like my black ass, man. Get the fuck out of here, man. You know. Yeah, but Jaga, how you know you're an Israelite, but you got the evil eye towards your brother? What type of bull crap is that? You know? All right. Psalms 19:1, to the chief musician, a psalm of David. The heavens declare the glory of Yahweh, and the firmament showeth His handiwork. Sirach 33:13. As the clay is in the potter's hand to fashion it at His pleasure. A part of His clay or His creation is all 12 tribes. Why would He make the 12 tribes all dark-skinned guys with beard, man? Come on, man. One thing I know is about Jake, they have a limited freaking expectation of their own selves. All right, Sirach 33:13, like the UFOs, so-called UFOs are not chariots. Come on, man. As the clay is in the potter's hand to fashion it at His pleasure, so man is in the hand of Him that made him, to render to them as like it Him best. Sirach 33:15. So look upon all the works of the Most High, and there are two and two, one against another. All right, and that's why we got an op. We got an opposition called Esau Edom. We've been op since the womb, man. And now we're being decolonized to where the 1/3 looking at the Northern Kingdom like, man, that's our brother, man. Like you was my brother the whole time. We got the same father, Ak. Jeremiah 12:9. My heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. The birds round about are against her. Come ye assemble all the beasts of the field, come to devour. My heritage, meaning the 12 tribes, is like a speckled bird. The water for that. And can the brother get that scripture? Ephraim is a cake not turned. See, like one thing I pick up on the Northern Kingdom, because you observe your brother, right? And you observe how the Most High do things. Our Northern Kingdom brothers are exotic, man. You know, the Kingdom brothers probably, subtle. But just in general, that Northern Kingdom spirit is peacockish. You look at their ornaments, you go into their history, like it's flamboyant. You know, Judah's flamboyant. I even saw a picture in a book called Nature Knows No Cover Line, where the Southern Kingdom in Africa, they had feathers. My spirit is starting to get into feathers. Because the brother Kazak in our camp in Mississippi, he's bringing that energy down here where you rock the feathers, man. You know, looking at Elder Apostle Ka, he's a Reubenite. But like I said, that Northern Kingdom, man, they're exotic, man. You know? And that's the beauty of our family, man. You know? That's the beauty of our family, is just like the Northern Kingdom is peacockish, like a peacock, man. They show the exotic side of the father. You know, the Southern Kingdom shows that authoritative, influential, ingenuitive side of the father, that leadership, authority, like I said, influential side. It said Judah is a lawgiver. All right. So the Southern Kingdom has that natural authority. All right. That's sort of like the trendsetters. They lead the way per se, whether it's in righteousness or wickedness. All right, because they really got their whole vibe. Like in America, all the tribes, they fall out to the vibration of the Southern Kingdom. I went to a particular city where it was dominated by Northern Kingdom, but they all had Judite haircuts. They had the wicked Judite taper fade, the wicked Judite, the same tattoos where Judah put his tattoos. That's where they put their tattoos. They were just niggas that could speak Spanish. But I said it to say Judah has the influence, but Ephraim, they have the prestige of the Most High. They have that exotic flamboyancy of the Most High. That's their side of the Most High. But like I said, the Southern Kingdom, they have the joint to the Most High. They have the sepulture, or the sepulture. I'm sorry, the sepulture of the Most High. You know. Let's go. Jeremiah 12:9. I read that. Wisdom of Solomon 12:1. For thy incorruptible spirit is in all things beautiful. Hosea 7:8. The water, my brother. Ephraim, he have mixed himself among the people. Ephraim is a cake not turned. Who did he mix himself amongst? The Spaniards, the so-called Spaniards, which is Esau, Edom. All right. The Northern Kingdom have mixed themselves amongst the Portuguese. They mixed themselves amongst the Spaniards, but they've also mixed themselves amongst the Southern Kingdom. All right, being imported down there. All right. So you got say Brazil. All right, as far as what I read, because I haven't been down there. Brazil is a mixture of it's a heavy Southern Kingdom influence in Brazil. All right. So there's a lot of so-called African influence in Brazil, but then you have a Portuguese side to a lot of Brazilian, so-called Brazilian, which are Asher. All right, which you go into the history of Asher. One of Asher's blessings was the fatness in that land. They have a lot of resources in that land. All right, but they have a so-called Southern. They're not so-called. They have a Southern Kingdom side to them. They have a Portuguese, so-called Portuguese side to them. But they also have the native Asherite side to them. So a lot of them, you got some that look like so-called African Americans. You got some that look like straight up Portuguese. But then you have some that look like the straight up native so-called Brazilians. Okay, Ephraim is a cake not turned. All right, same thing with Cubans, so-called Puerto Ricans. All right. Genesis 49:8. Judah, thou art whom thy brother shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies, and that's literal. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. Because when Yahweh Shah returns, all right, that pecking order is going to return. That chain of command is going to return to where Judah's not going to be looked at as a nigga no more. Because you got a lot of parts in the United States, like Texas, all right, where the Northern Kingdom looks at Judah like we were here first, which they were here first, but they look down on Judah with colonizer eyes. Yeah, they look more like Southern Kingdom has a certain pride about them because they look more like the people that conquered them. All right, so they look down on Judah like, nigga, you under us, you know. And this is a beautiful lesson or discussion, but the water for the scriptures. Genesis 49:20. Out of Asher his bread shall be fat, and he shall yield royal dainties. And you can look up the word dainties, it goes into like delicacies. And you can look up Brazilian treats or Brazilian dainties on Google, and they have a whole array of dainties. All right. And it's been a couple years since I went into Asher, but one of the things that Asher yields is a particular metal. Brass. Brazil goes back to the Hebrew Barazah, because there's a beautiful brother by the name of Barazah. And I believe it goes back to brass, and a brother could correct me on a comment board, but I think it goes back to brass because Brazil is one of the top producers of that. All right, all right. So that's Asher, you know. All right, Barazal. I think, yeah, Barazal. I think that's how you say it, Barazal. All right, Genesis 37:3. Now, now Israel, talking about Jacob, our forefather. Now Israel loved Joseph, which is the progenitor of the northern kingdom. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his sons because he was a son of his old age. He made him a coat of many colors. Oh my goodness, man! Hey, come on, man! Hey, he made Joseph a coat of many colors. Now I'm speaking as a man. Like, this not written in stone, but through the spirit, I was like, what? Through the spirit, Ephraim is exotic. Did we not, like, Ephraim is exotic? But the brother just brought up the scripture where it said he made Joseph a coat of many colors, man. Brothers in the spirit, man. I'm like, damn, man. But that's the nature. That's the, like, you might have brothers, right? You might have a brother that's kind of low key. He just in the corner do his own thing. He might got a bag, a little brown bag with his wine in it or something. He just cooling. But then you might have a brother that's like, damn, brother, you can't leave the house without wearing some flashy stuff, man. Like, Ephraim is exotic, man. But he had that coat of many colors, man. And he carried that vibration on this side. Cause they're flat, they're peacockish in their attire, man. Even in their kingdom is peacockish, man. All right. Even certain particular brothers I know, there's northern kingdom, when they make their beads, it's kind of like when they make their necklace, it's kind of far out. This particular brother, I speculate that I asked him, I was like, bro, you wouldn't happen to be a northern kingdom? Because he showed me his stones. I'm like, bro, the way you design your stones, it's like a rubinite, you know? Because I started to see patterns in brothers that's northern kingdom. It's like y'all don't just wear, regular size beads. Y'all like big beads and exotic. But you watch the movie Wakanda, and you look at the northern kingdom, and you look at their beads, and it was the same thing. Zebulon was mad. Hey, man, it was a majestic movie, brothers. It was a majestic movie, especially if you're looking at it through the spirit, man. But hey, but the point is, which is why I did this movie in the first place, that movie was about the joining of the two sticks, man. Con, I wasn't expecting that. I actually saw it twice, because the first time we had to leave, something had happened, and we just had to leave, and it was late, so I wasn't even attentive like that. But the second time we went to see it, and my antennas were up, I was like, whoa, snap. Because I got to watch stuff in the daytime. You try to go to the movies after work, then your spirit starts shutting down. So I saw it in the daytime this time, and I was like, whoa. And I was amped up, man. Because most I can bring you back to life through a movie, Bring those scriptures to life, too, But, hey, man, hey, look, I enjoyed this live stream. It was, like, crazy, man. I definitely enjoyed this live stream. The water for tuning in, all right? But now our northern kingdom, the so-called Puerto Ricans, the so-called Hispanics, all right, which are like so-called Mexicans, what you call Latin Americans, all right, so-called Native Americans, all right, so-called Seminole Indians. Those are our brothers, man. All right, and that's Joseph. That's Joseph's favorite son, and he's the son with the exotic colors. And you see it, man. You see it, Ava. My battery spirit is just sign. It's time to sundown the lesson, brothers. But the water for you, Akim and you, Aqua, who are tapping in, all right, to this live stream. To you brothers and sisters who are tapping in, all right. Shema Yasha'Allah Yahweh, Allahayinawa Yahweh Achad, meaning here, O Israel, Yahweh, our power is one, all right. All right, the water for tapping in. I hope you brothers, all right, have a blessed night, all right, and a bob, come out, shalom.